Hey everybody. First of all, I'm sorry that this video is a day late. I'm so sorry. But Spider-Man Brand New Day. Hopefully I had a chance to see it. If not, but then I don't know what to tell you. So this is my spoiler-filled, well, I don't necessarily say spoiler review. I'm not gonna go through the movie scenes by scene. I'm not doing that. I just want to give my personal thoughts on the movie, but reveal stuff that I couldn't say in a spoiler-free review. So this is just more of my thoughts on it with spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you've been warned. Now, I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna start talking. Now, about the movie, of course. So, the movie obviously picks up immediately after No Way Home, where we all remember where Peter Parker has to immediately try to spell to Doctor Strange to where everybody completely forgets about Peter Parker. And it worked. Because now MJ and Ned, they don't know who Peter Parker is. Nobody does. Well, except for a few who we will get to. To where, and I really do like that because also in No Way Home, he also loses Aunt May. So it's like, so he has two challenges. Start a brand new life where everybody forgets who he is, and then another one without essentially his minutes, somebody who he's had. So it's two challenges in this movie now, and I really did think the movie really handled it that well. Now, but as we later see in the movie, where of course he started stopping bad guys, but there was one specific one where it's this military machine and it's all across New York, and then we later then find out, and then once we see that an old lady was in there, like that's essentially like when we all just knew, what, why is an old lady in there? And then it kept going, and it was like a parasite almost, like where it's like going from her to another guy to another guy to somebody else, which was insane to me. Like that's legitimately when I was like, oh crap, this is serious. Because spoiler alert, because yeah, Jean Grey, that's essentially her power, where it's like to where she can like do that, but get into people's minds to where where like they do what they want her to do, which is essentially take down the Department of Damage Control, which killed her sister. Like, and then of course Peter obviously had to stop her, and then this is where the Punisher kind of comes in. Because spoiler alert, he already makes the Punisher mad by making sure he doesn't shoot his gun, and then eventually then find out that later on that because Peter's essentially like, I really did like the first 30 minutes of the movie. I really, really do. But I'm gonna get into some of those issues though, which was the action plot, to where you remember that moment, that teaser trailer or any of the TV ads where Spider-Man find the Hulk? That is essentially the reason why. Not because Spider-Man did something offensive to him, but rather, yes, the spell, or sorry, whatever, because Jean Grey uses his powers on Bruce Banner, essentially, because he always has that machine, he has a machine around his arm where it prevents him from getting angry. He does not have that, which causes him to be it. Now, and then once she realizes, oh, it's not there, which I have no clue how, but like we then find out it's not there, and then that's essentially the reason why they fight, because of Jean Grey's powers. And then shortly afterwards, Not only do we then find out that that Jean motive is that that department killed her sister, but also though supposedly she's apparently one of the very few who actually still remembers Peter Parker. Like, the spell worked for everybody except for her. And that she eventually wants to use her own powers, essentially, to lure his girlfriend back in to where they first eventually stay at the Punisher's place. In which that, not gonna lie, now I don't say this as one of the things as well. That was one of the few negatives. I really did think while it was funny at times, yeah, I did think it dragged on a little bit too long there. I really, really did. I thought it dragged on a little bit too long there, personally. But the very end though, where but I want to point out though too with that Hulk, like I just wish there was something a little bit more. Like that's really what really frustrated me. Is like it has potential, but they just didn't execute it how I think would have made it awesome. Like that was a negative I had. But like but then you have the and then oh wait. Oh crap, I can't believe I got to mention this. Hold on. Because another thing too is Peter. I forgot to can't believe I got to mention this, but there's also moments really in this entire. This is actually another third thing he has to put up with. That he is not 100% human, and that now he has to put some device on him to where he can actually be normal. Where, and it does somewhat work for most of it, but at the very end of the movie, where Jean Grey essentially just stops the entire planet, Peter lets Jean's darkness into his mind, and in my opinion, the best action of the entire movie then happens, where it's Peter Parker, Spider-Man versus those samurai, the Red Samurai, essentially. Like that, those scenes are absolutely worth it to see in on the big screen. I wish listen, as much as I love the honesty, I wish this movie was in IMAX. That would have been so awesome right there. That would have been so awesome to see in IMAX. Like Spider-Man versus those samurai. That would have been awesome. But that's a conversation for another day. I mean, and then we later see at the very end how the two were in their minds together. It's Peter, um, Jean, and then Ed May, and then they two a little bit have a talk how Jean is not a villain. She is just a broken human character. I mean, it's a flawed villain. It's more of a flawed character than a villain, which a lot of times I find cheesy. And this is definitely one. Is now definitely could now it's definitely could anger me some later on, but I do like it for now. I really do, especially given what her character is. I mean, it's not anything like it isn't trying to be super drum. I mean, actually, no, it does try to be dramatic at times, but concepts pretty cheesy. I will admit it, but like other than maybe that, this is the more I think about it, this is probably my third favorite of the Tom Holland MCU movies. Far from also my least favorite, but I think it could go back and forth between my third and my second favorite in the future. But yep, those are my spoiler thoughts on the movie, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.